like Rosh Hashanah so soon. I was just in Ibiza sunning on the beach at Hayden. I was out there having the best time of my life, and now suddenly I'm going to stand in shul. The shofar's being blown. I've got to start thinking about my new year. Start thinking about what I want for the upcoming, year ahead.
Can't have the cocktails from IB for Yom Kippur.
Exactly. Think about Yom Kippur as well. And so at the end of the day, we have to start preparing ourselves for these really precious days that are coming up. So last week, those who missed it, I would suggest you watch the video. We had an amazing session about the shofar. Anyone here remember what we talked about? The idea of the broken notes and the straight sounds, the idea of how we come into this world with a pure soul, with an unbroken soul, with a soul which is untainted. We come into this world, we say, it's pure. And then we have to go through a world which is challenging, which sets up a lot of issues and questions. We have to build relationships, and most importantly, we have to find a world which we can fix. Everyone here is familiar with the Tikkun Olam. Okay, Tikkun Olam has become, I guess, quite more on vogue. Richard, can you close the door? Yes. It's become quite more on vogue. So, David, can you move a little bit this way, just towards me? Yeah, just come around a little bit. That's
Which one?
Both of you. 2 Davids. That's amazing. So it's become a little bit more on vogue, the word Tikkun Olam. But ultimately, that is what we're here to do. We're here to do that. People talk about Jewish mindfulness, and I've been giving these classes now for the past 2 years almost about Jewish mindfulness. And I think what really sets apart Jewish mindfulness to mindfulness as a whole is that we believe that this power, this moment we're in right now, contains immense power. But ultimately, we have a goal, we have an aim for the world. It's not just about being present, about being calm. We're here to make the world a better place. That's what Tikkun Olam means. We have to affect change. We have to leave the world in a better place than the way we found it. There's an interesting question on the prayers of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. We often talk about the fact that Adam yasodo me'afar. So what that means, yasodo me'afar, meaning that a person's, you come from dust. Dust, anybody? Dust, anyone? We come from dust, right? This is, those who are familiar. Now, finally get that. We got that. Okay, we come from dust. And ultimately say, Adam yasodo me'afar. And at the end, we go back to afar. Okay, so we come from dust and eventually we go back to dust, as you may be familiar. Dust to dust, ash to ash, which is not, of course, a Jewish phrase, but I did dust. And just by the way, I like getting it in there in all my classes. When we say dust, now Hashem took the dust of the earth. We don't mean dust as in like he went, just swept the table and got dust. We talk about the idea that Hashem took all the minerals that you would find, right? You're all made up of carbon, magnesium, zinc, all different, we have a doctor here who can tell you, potassium, what else we made up of?
I'm a clinical doctor.
Oh, come on, help me. I'm getting down now, I just gave you a big up, Rose. One of the up and coming carbon, zinc, magnesium, potassium, right? They say we share most of our genes with a banana, right? Is that the 99% of our DNA?
He doesn't know, he's a clinical doctor.
Yeah, fake news.
And that is Hashem took all the elements of the world and then put in a shama. Hashem took, Josh, all the people in the world, you would know the answer to that.
Yeah, he's been telling.
Go on.
What about the bananas?
We share, what is it?
It's not as high as 90%.
What is it? Something like 87% of our DNA is we share a banana. It's crazy. So Hashem took the natural elements of the world, which is what we're made up of essentially, and blew an neshama into it. And that's us. So we talk about the idea of blowing an neshama, that's the shofar, that was last week. But this is the point I want to make. What's the big deal? So, we talk about the idea that we came from dust and we go back to dust. Okay, so what? What's the big deal with that? If you could say we came from gold and we go back to dust, so then that's something to talk about. Like, how can it be that we come from gold and we go down to dust? But what's the big idea of saying why is it sad to say that we come from dust and we go back to dust? We're just going back to where we came from. Do you understand the question? If we say we came from gold and jewels and silver and we go back to dust, then you'd say, like the downward slide of life. It's something to be sad and depressed about. But yet we say we come from dust and we go back to dust. There's nothing bad about that. We just go back to where we came from. So why is that? Why do we say at Rosh Hashanah to wake and Yom Kippur to wake us up? Why is that a phrase that kind of stirs within us a sense of change? Auntie Emily, welcome to the show, line 3.
That you can't take anything with you. That you don't become anything else. So all your material things don't really acquire to anything.
Okay, that's an interesting idea. That like that you come from dust and you go back without anything else as well. Beautiful. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
So I thought it was the whole idea of you were humble, and there's a nice idea about having two pieces of paper in your pocket, and one says, I am dust, and to dust I shall return, and one says, and the whole world was created for me. So it's that tie between being something really special, but then also feeling humble enough to be like, I've come from dust, come from nothing.
Beautiful. I love that. It's amazing. It's humility, and we talked about that as well last week. The humility, amazing, beautiful idea. Anyone else got something to share on that? So
Journey matters.
Go, Jake. Go on, nice and loud.
The journey matters.
Go on, say it. That's a beautiful. Go on, meaning. You're actually touching on the answer. Stand back. Joking.
No, just it's a reminder that it doesn't matter what the destination is. You got to make sure the journey is as simple as possible.
That's definitely part of the answer. I would say. Can I say a little bit better than you? I apologize. You don't mind. I would say it's more like this. The idea is that life is a journey, but there is a goal. The goal is to leave the world a better place than when we found it. It's a sad idea to think we came into the world one way and we'll go back again the same. Life's about growing towards something, about changing in a positive way. So we come from dust, then we go back to dust, yeah, but we want to come from dust and build something and make something and effect positive change, and know that when we look back in our lives that every day was a building block towards something positive and not just another kind of ticker, another day in the diary that we can cross off. And that's how the world always sees, time is decay. It's like every moment you're living, it's just another day. Once you hit past a certain birthday, you hit a certain depression because like, hey, you're over the hill now, 40, you're over the hill, and that's it. It's like, no, your whole life is like this. Your whole life is an upward, kind of graph whereby you're affecting more and more change and helping more and more. And that's what we've got to think about in Rosh Hashanah. We come from dust. We will go back to dust, but we want our whole life to be a journey of positivity and change. So now last week we talked about Rosh Hashanah. Today I want to talk about it's actually interesting. I was going to say you would go chronologically, because you get Rosh Hashanah, what's after Rosh Hashanah? Kinda. Okay. I mean, that's like, it's part of what you can all agree that. We're missing one little thing here.
The day before Yom Kippur?
What do we call the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Anybody know? Sarah? We say Slichot. In fact, Sfardis have already started saying Slichot already. Right, so it's amazing because Sfardis do Slichot. And I don't know how many Sfardis people remember. Okay, Sfardis do Slichot. They do Slichot already from like 2 weeks ago. They do the whole month of Elul. But when they do Slichot, it's like a disco. It's like, it's like Ashkenazis, it's like, and Sfardis are like dancing. You saw that I said that years ago. Right? I already said that years ago. There's a bit of a difference in Spanish Ashkenazi. So
it's way more fun.
Yeah, so Slichot is part of it, but we call it something. Anybody know that the days between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur are called the Aseres Yemei Tshuva, the 10 days of repentance. Okay, the idea is that from Rosh Hashanah, you stand in front of the king, you put your plea bargain in, you explain who you are, why you need to be on the team sheet, why God needs you on his team this year, and now you've got that time between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to do tshuva. And tonight's class, ladies and gentlemen, is about tshuva. What is tshuva? Now, I realize I'm saying a word which is in Hebrew, which some of you might know, you've never heard of the word before. Okay, so this question is a general question. No one should feel embarrassed if they don't know the answer, but I'm going to throw it out there. Does anybody here know what the word tshuva means?
Repentance.
Okay, so Auntie Sophie saying it means saying sorry.
Asking for forgiveness, saying sorry.
Forgiveness and sorry, beautiful. David said sorry. Anybody else?
It's trying to work at yourself to be a better person, or to
transformation.
Yeah.
Transformation says Richard. Sarah says working yourself to be a better person. Ellie, come on, let's hear it.
Coming back.
Self-improvement.
Self-improvement. There's Emily. Yes, Emily and Sienna, go on.
I was saying that it means to answer.
יפה מאוד. לשוב, yeah, in one Hebrew.
Emily was just saying there's like 2 meanings, so I'm just
that's what's so amazing, right? Shuv means we're going to get towards the answer now. Here's an interesting thing I'll put out to you. Every year we have, in the summertime, we do some classes, and I'll put people around the room, people like yourselves, and I'll say to them, what is the saddest day in the Jewish calendar year? What's the saddest day in the Jewish calendar year? And what do you think is the answer I normally get when I answer that question? Watch how you all it was amazing because I asked recently the same question, the same thing happened. Half the room said one thing and the other room said the other thing at the same time. So put your hands up if you said Yom Kippur. Okay?
It's the saddest day.
No, I'm not saying that's what you think, it's what most people think.
Oh, what most people think.
Most people think that Yom Kippur is the saddest day of the year. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
No, Tish B'Av. Tish B'Av.
And Tish B'Av is the right
Most
answer.
people don't know.
Tisha B'Av is, of course, the right answer. It's the saddest day of the year. But I have to tell you, in my experience, working in JLE now for quite many years, when I do this class, oftentimes the answer people say is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the saddest day of the year. It's the day where you feel sad. Now, I can understand why that is. Because many people, Yom Kippur is quite a sad experience. Why?
Don't eat.
Because you don't eat, because you're fasting, and no one likes to fast, because, let's face it, we're all like, Jewish, you're fasting, you haven't eaten,
You haven't eaten in 2 hours, that's
that's
fast.
already a fast. Right, so that's also true, but unfortunately not many people know also like Tish B'Av at all. Right? But they'll say Yom Kippur is the saddest day. Because you're not fasting. Why? Come on, help me out. Why else?
It's boring.
Boring, Emily, thank you. Why?
Because you can't do anything.
Right, you can't do anything. If you come to shul and you're not used to it, it's like,
It's like a
that's that thing we all do. Everyone familiar with
Makes
this?
me really
Okay, everyone does this. What you do is you get your machzor, okay, and then you do the thing where you count how many pages left. 500 pages left.
Every year.
And it's always that depressing thing like, 500. I am through 500.
It's the last hour.
300. 200.
Yeah, the last hour.
The last
How am I
hour.
going to get through the last 80
Like
pages?
planning what to eat.
Standing.
So that is for many people, they don't connect, and this is what tonight's class is. Please go, by the time you walk out of this room, Josh Tankle, you'll obviously be flying out the room. By the time they will have a different appreciation of what's meant to be doing Yom Kippur. Okay, so I think people think it's sad because, and also if you take a look at the prayers, some of the prayers are also quite melancholic, somewhat depressing. You're standing in front of God, you're going to be judged. And I always say, by the way, that we talk about in our classes, about the idea of God as being a man in the sky with a stick and he's going to hit you and punish you. A lot of people have that idea, that sense of what God is, which is of course not that God is not a person, God is not a man, God does not have a beard. I'm sorry to break any sort of ideas for people here in this sort of iconoclast. You're going to walk out there, oh my gosh, God has no form, but a lot of people think He does. Why? I feel because when people go to shul, maybe once or twice a year on Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, and they're reading the machzor, God has got His hand, He's signing the book right now. People get the sense that God is a man and God is a person, and I better make Him happy. Because if I don't, then I'm in trouble for the next year. So I better just make God happy. And if I sit here and suffer in the shul for 3 hours while the chazan sings along, and I just suffer, then I can sign off for the year. I've suffered my 3 hours and go home now.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Rachel, yeah, obviously.
So the bit that I don't understand about Yom Kippur is, and I know you probably should understand from lots of Jewish
No
education,
judgment, it's fine.
is in the media every day you say, I'm really sorry for doing all this stuff. So why is it that Yom Kippur is so such a different day?
Gorgeous question.
What
question.
makes it special?
Okay, do me a favour.
Yeah.
I can't want to start getting bored out and start writing that.
Yeah.
If I don't answer the question by the end, can you just remind me?
Yeah.
Because I hope that by the end, when we talk about what Tshuva is in a deeper way, I will understand what Yom Kippur is, why Yom Kippur has a special power.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll hopefully come back to that.
Because the book of life.
That's something that the book is on something else. We'll come back to that too. Okay, so people think Yom Kippur is a sad day. It's their fasting. It's a day of pleading. It's a day where I'm bored. I don't connect to the prayers. I'm certainly not going to be excited. So now, today, Lejon, we have to come to a deep appreciation of what Teshuvah is. What Teshuvah is. Because actually, Teshuvah is one of the most amazing, gorgeous, wonderful gifts that actually exist in the world. It's one of the most incredible things that we have. These days we're in right now, actually, even though everything's Elul and Rosh Hashanah is sad, no, they're considered to be the sweetest, most gorgeous days of the year. Doing Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. These are actually happy days, to the extent that in the Oral Torah, in the Mishnah, Jake Saffer will tell you this, being a student of the Oral Torah, that it tells us in the Mishnah that the 2 happiest days of the year, the 2 happiest days of the Jewish year. Anybody know what they were? They say in the times of the Mishnah, the 2 happiest days of the year were Purim is unfortunately not the right answer. Rosh Hashanah says Sarah. Anybody else? Shavuot says Uncle Hayden. Simchat Torah says Auntie Hannah. Chanukah. Of course. Spin the dreidel, eat those donuts. The answer is, I think 2 people in the room. One was Tu B'Av. Okay, Tu B'Av is we celebrated around a month ago today. Yes, 2 days ago. Okay, it's a day which is not for now. That's not for here. Can't go into it too much. It's a day where essentially lots of things are celebrated, but nowadays it's become a sort of a kind of Jewish Valentine's Day, which is kind of almost very belittling what it's all about. But it's a day of people used to get married. It's a day where people used to really traditionally get married. It's very not for now. I don't want to get into it now. Let's not go talk to the house. But the other day was Yom Kippur. Well, isn't that crazy? It's the one day that everyone thinks is the saddest day of the year, and Michelle says it's the happiest day of the year. And it is the happiest day of the year. It's a day which we can all learn to love and fall in love with, because Yom Kippur is a 25-hour period of time where we basically, all we have to do is go through it and exist in it. And just like a mikveh is waters that you go in and you come out cleansed, just being inside that day cleanses you entirely. Okay, but first we have to understand truly what tshuva is. Okay, who was it said? Sienna. Sienna said the word was to answer. That's one thing. Lashuv is to answer back. A tshuva is an answer to a question. But tshuva also has another word. Eli Michani.
Yeah.
You said it so beautifully. What does tshuva also mean? To return. Shuv means to return. Shuv means to come back home again. So I'm going to pass around the source sheets for today's class. What's the rule with source sheets?
You can't skip ahead.
Don't read ahead, otherwise it's just annoying. Annoying for you, annoying for me, annoying for everyone. So please just pass them around, okay? And we're going to go through this. Please feel free to keep the sheets on. Let me give a few more on that side. If there aren't enough, just go one between two. Okay, so we're going to go through this together, and I'm going to hopefully leave you with a whole different idea of what should be done. Do you guys want to share that? I think a few people snuck in under the radar.
Sorry, it's too there.
You two share, beautiful. Okay, fine. Is there enough, Florencia?
I said I'm going to call my son Ellie Camel. You've not seen it? Yes. Fight. Ellie Camel.
See, that's sort of old. It's amazing.
I'm on a big
Everyone back in the room. Everybody back in the room. Elizabeth, there should be a spare one for you, yeah. This one. Pass one to Elizabeth, yeah. Everyone's got? Yeah, Femod. Okay, fine, spare one, spare back on the table. Okay, I think I have it. Okay, here we go. So here's the show, this is the Mishnah in Tanis. It says, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said, never more joyous festivals in Israel than the 15th of Av and Yom Kippur. So that's I'm not making it up. This really was one of the happiest days of the year. And we're going to understand why that is by the end of today's class. Because ultimately, this is how I want to present what tshuva is. This isn't my concept, this is something which is really, I think it's brought down mainly in the works of a great tzaddik, who happens to be someone who I personally look to as my hero in many ways. His name was Rav Kook, Rav Avram Yitzhak HaKohen Kook, who was the chief rabbi of pre-state Israel. He passed away in 1936. I believe it was 1936 or 1935. And he, again, not for now to go into too much detail, but he's certainly someone who in my life has had an immense impact. And he spoke about tshuva as spiritual health. Spiritual health. Okay, this is now going to be hopefully for something of a paradigm shift. We're going to talk about the idea of spiritual health, because we live in a world of health. Okay, everyone, as far as I know, is trying the hardest to get fit in some way. Okay, we live in a world now where, I'm telling you, I don't remember, when I was growing up, like, none of my parents or parents' friends went to gyms. Like, I don't know, any of your grandparents go to a gym? No, those grandparents went to gyms.
They all smoked.
Anyone here maybe said, there's always one person, like, my grandfather used to go every morning and swim, half a mile and jog, No, there's always like one person that speaks about that, but ultimately, we've had an awakening in the world of physical health. Okay, and again, like I say, for Jewish people, that Jackie Mason, who I mentioned before, is someone who I particularly like. He has a good, he's one of his jokes. He goes like, you got the Jewish people, and they get their equipment. They got a gym in the house. They got a gym. So come and see the gym. Come and see the gym with the running machine. And they go in to see the gym, and it's all shirts. Like they're hanging the shirts to dry and all the gym equipment. Like you haven't got a place to hang up your clothes. It's all like just hang up shirts on all the gym equipment. That's meant to be a joke. Obviously, I'll explain it again. You know how sometimes your mum, when she does the washing, she doesn't have to put the shirts. Right, so the gym equipment is just a place to put your shirts.
I think you need to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. New York humour doesn't work.
Yeah, of course. Let us not forget that, of course, a lot of our foods are traditionally really unhealthy.
No.
I mean, there is a limit of how much cholent a person can have. I don't know what that limit is yet. We're getting there close, but I mean, a traditional cholent with the kishka and all that stuff. I mean, that's like a calorie.
Is that the
bomb.
egg?
That's just like so. And then the Spartans are going to know what that with the egg. It's not that good either. It depends which one you're having. It depends how they're having it. You know, they put the extra fat in and make it really fatty. Eating late on a Friday night in the summer. I mean, why? Sometimes you'll eat at like 10:30 at night. I mean, what would Hulk Hogan say about that? You're not gonna ultimately. You know, a lot of the food we're having is so the world is waking up to the idea of health. Okay, gyms. Now, by the way, interesting enough, it was until quite recently, it was just physical health. Okay, everyone was, going in, you join the gyms, and you get a personal trainer, and you getting fit and losing weight. People talking about things like, how obesity is one of the biggest issues now. They say in the country, one of the biggest, killer. That's what everyone's talking about nowadays, right? And now what we started seeing over the past 3-4 years. I was discussing this last week with a rabbi who was visiting from Israel. One of my rabbis was visiting. We were talking about how not only physical health, but over the past, I think, 4 or 5 years, the focus has now become on mental health. This is the big talking issue. Everyone is now discussing mental health. How many days off a year in all the workplaces come out because of mental health and stress and people feeling unhealthy. So there's a huge emphasis in the world on health. That we want to all become healthier, we want to become better, we want to become stronger, we want to live longer, we want to be slimmer and leaner and better. And this is what this is what Zeitgeist, I think, over the past, and not just that, by the way. Have you noticed that married to that is a sense of we want the world to be healthier, planet Earth. Okay, 20, I remember 30, I was writing essays in school about CFCs and carbon, and the Green Party were like just weird matter. That's when you saw like weird people. And now it's just like it's become mainstream. Quite rightly, it's become mainstream. It's the way it should be. I remember now like all these newspapers are jumping on the bandwagon about plastic. Look at and they all like play the card. We're so good. We're recycling plastic now, or don't use plastic. And none of them really cared at all 10 years ago. Just now it's like the cool thing to care about it. But again, it's a good thing. I'm not criticizing it. But we're choking the planet, we're polluting the planet, and now it's amazing. Wherever I go, I'm just seeing green energy, see windmills, see people investing in solar energy. In Israel just now, last summer we were in the desert, and I saw these big towers out in the desert, these big metal towers. So I said to somebody, what is that? And he explained to me that they have all these solar farms now in Israel. There's so many solar panels, and all the solar energy gets put up into like a huge battery, and it all gets stored up, and then in one go goes boom, sends all the power out to wherever it is in Israel, and then they collect all the energy up again. It's amazing. Places like Australia, they're like doing solar farms with so much solar power. This is tremendous. But look how we've woken up to the fact we're choking the earth to death. We have to make the world healthy. So the world is talking about health. Okay, back in the day, remember, things like cigarettes were seen as healthy. You used to buy your cigarettes in a health food shop. Go to Holland and Barrett and buy your what? And buy your, no, that's a joke. That was that's a joke. But so we're talking about health right now, and tshuva, my friends. Okay, this is the paradigm shifter. Is spiritual health, coming back to a place of spiritual health, coming back to a place where you are healthy within yourself. See, let's use the same paradigm, right? What is chet? We use the word for sin, okay? Now, some of you have been to my classes in the past, or been to other Rosh Hashanah classes, might be familiar with this. The Jewish word for sin is chet. I prefer to use the word chet. Why? Because sin is such a loaded term. When you say the word sin, what do you think of? Come on. You think of like, devils and pitchforks and priests and, it's a very Christian term to sin, back in the day it was a pet shop. Like you think, I say back in the day, apparently they're big now, right? They come back in, haven't they? Richard knows. Richard's my pop guru. But it's...
I think they were Glastonbury with a cover.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Richard. I knew he'd help me out with that one. So you think of like kind of no and bad and black and evil and sin. and then people feel guilty. And then I spoke to a guy on the phone the other day, and he was so interesting, this fellow, and he was going like, he was saying to me like, oh, there you go, they do our Jewish guilt trip thing again, do the Jewish guilt trip, and why is it Jews all about guilt and all that guilt and like making me feel bad? And I was actually, funny enough, I hadn't said anything to him yet. I just said hello to him. I hadn't actually said him. But he was expecting me to go down that road because that's what he thinks. Jews always go about the guilt trips, and sin is such a... Right, so here we go. The Jewish word for sin is actually the word chet. That's spelled chet, tet, aleph, chet. Which if you turn your page, you'll see here, on the top of page 2, chet. This is what we call sin. So here's the amazing thing. Okay, you may have heard this story before. I heard it from Rabbi David Aaron. Those who are Scotland got to hear Rabbi Aaron live. Rabbi Aaron heard this one of his students who was in Jerusalem at the Teddy. It was in Kenyon Malcha. There's a Kenyon. Kenyon is a shopping mall. Yeah. Not to be confused with what Israelis might call a Kenyon, which is a canyon, like the Grand Canyon. Because I know someone, actually, no joke, was in Las Vegas and met an Israeli and said, he said he'd gone to the Grand Canyon. Just, Canyon, where do I buy in the Canyon? What can I buy in the Grand Canyon? What can I buy there? There's a Grand Canyon. Canyon is a shopping centre. So she thought it was a grand shopping centre, the Grand Canyon. I'm not working tonight, it's not working tonight. Okay, no, the point is like this. She's in the Grand Canyon. Okay, and next he's in the Kenyon in Jerusalem, and it's Motzi Shabbos, Saturday night, and he's walking around, and he hears like these words going, chet, 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 chet. So he's thinking to himself like, okay, there's a crowd chanting sin, sin, sin. Like, what is going on? Are they lynching someone on Saturday night in the shopping mall? This is like the new like sport. People like lynch people. He's hearing people singing, chet, chet, chet. So what's going on? So he starts looking around, what's happening, until he realizes the noise isn't coming from the shopping centre. Where's the noise coming from?
Outside.
Hope that's it. Oh. See, that's all Hope's thinking about is the kotel. The name. The name implies hope. The tikva, ha-tikva, which is in Jerusalem, yeah, but it's quite a long way from the Kenyan to the kotel. But still, Jerusalem is very small, it's very close.
We never made that.
Okay, well, next time we can do a shopping, a tour to the shopping centre. Come on our daily trip to the kotel and the shopping centre. Okay, so it wasn't kotel, but that's very beautiful. That's you, Hope. That's you. The hope of Mashiach lives in you. The light of Mashiach. Okay, it wasn't there. Elliot, where was it? Mr. Lazarus.
Help me out.
Okay, so opposite Kenyon Malcha is the Teddy football stadium, Teddy Collect football stadium. Okay, what was happening at that time? There was a football match happening. And what was happening? Why was the crowd singing chet, 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 chet? Why?
Because they were losing.
Because here we go. Because the word chet means, and this is a paradigm shifting moment. Ready, Robin? Hold on. Chet means to miss the target.
There was a penalty.
So what was happening was there was a player taking a penalty, and the opposing fans were saying chet, chet, meaning miss the goal, miss, because chet means to miss. It means to miss the target. So what happens is, what is a sin? Okay, so we're going to start banishing the word sin now. Bam, 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 boom, out. It's gone. We talk about chet. So now listen, you've got to understand something. Back in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, can I explain to you? The time of that temple, shame Steve's not here because he likes to about the temple. Okay, they used to bring sacrifices, and the idea was that people would like kind of what's the word? They would confess whatever onto their sacrifice, and the Kohanim had to eat the meat. And there's an element by the Kohanim eating the meat, the digestion of the Kohanim somehow got rid of the chet. So that's why Kohanim had to have special medicine, because they ate so much meat that had like this kind of expunging of sin onto the meat. So they had special medicines, herbalists, no joke, it says in the Mishnah, had herbalists that made special things for the Kohanim because of all the meat they were eating. Anyway, that's by the by. Back to what we were saying. Okay. the idea of chet is missing the mark. It's missing the mark. Hashem put us in the world and gave us a pure soul. And He gives us a technology called Torah mitzvahs. He gives us a way, a guideline. This is how you go into the world. This is the way to do it. This is the way to switch on the lights in your life. Okay? And we've talked about this many times in Soul Fitness, those who are new, and those who may be more familiar with these ideas of light, allowing the light into your life, or closing the doors. Okay? You're closing the door. Every time, I told the story millions of times about my son when he was born, right? You've heard it millions of times, right? With, you know the story, somebody's heard it so many times, no? You want to hear it again? She's saying, yeah, okay. When Donnie was born, and he was born on Friday night at the Whittington Hospital. Michelle and I went just a minute after Shabbos came in. We rushed to Whittington Hospital, Hope, and Donnie was born on Shabbos, just a few minutes into Shabbos, and we gave him his first bracha a few minutes into Shabbos. And I stuck around. I wasn't ready to walk home yet. It was very exhausting for me, giving birth. And I knew there was what's called a Shabbos room. There's a Shabbos room in the Whittington Hospital. So you can go into it, and they've got like cholent and kugel and all these lovely foods.
Amazing.
And it's an amazing charity called Ezra Marker. They stock it up. And there's a hot plate, and there's a hot water urn, and there's a fridge full of cholent and kugel, that kind of shit. Actually, cholent's not in the fridge, that would be disgusting. The cholent's in the hot plate, whatever. The whole point is that I wanted to get there. So I wanted to get out. The problem is, Shabbos, and to get through, you have to hit the buttons.
Doors, yeah.
So I wanted to get through the doors, so I, what can I do now? When we're going into the hospital, it's okay, because it's life or death, right? Because my wife is giving birth, so we can push all the buttons we need to, although, you know, the non-Jewish people will push the buttons, but that's fine, okay? Now, some people will say eating cholent Shabbos is life and death. I hear that. I can hear that side, but I don't know if I can rely on that halakhically. So I wanted to get through to the door, so I said to this nurse, I need to get over there. I'm Jewish today. Not Jewish today. I'm Jewish every day. I'm Jewish every day. I'm Jewish, and today is the Sabbath, and I want to go over there. So she's like trying to work it out, and she says, "So go." So I said, "No, but I'm Jewish, and I need to go over there." And she, "Oh, I see. You want me to push the button?" I was like, you know, like, I can't actually tell her to do it, obviously, right? So you know, this is the whole Steve thing about what you can and can't tell Jews to do. No, just, okay, anyway, so I can't tell her directly yes or no. So so she says, "I will make a deal with you." I was like, okay. I will push the button as long as you tell me what would happen to you if you pushed the button.
Oh, good one.
So I was like, oh no. It's like 3 a.m. We just had a baby. You know, like, I cannot be dealing with this right now. But I felt that I was in a place where I could actually deal with the questions. So I said to her, I said to her, okay, I said it's like this. Okay, there are 613 commandments, right? There are 248 positives and 265 negatives. 248 positives are the ways that I can get close to my Creator. 375 negatives are the ways that I get to be far away from my Creator. If I do a positive commandment, then I'm staying close. Anytime I do a negative commandment, I'm going further away. If I push that button and thing, I'm moving further away from my Creator.
Oh.
Not bad for 2:30 a.m. after. So she said, okay. She hit the button with a psychiatric nurse, like beep, beep, beep. It's like men with white jackets running. No, she said, oh, okay.
She was like, shut up.
She wasn't, actually, I think she was quite I had something to say, because most people were like, oh, I don't know why, actually.
I'm going to get funny.
Yeah, I'm going to get smashed. Thunder and lightning will come down at this moment. She was actually really disappointed. She wanted to see, like, you know, the lightning come down and then, like, you know, she was waiting. Yeah, you just right. So anyway, as you're pleased to know, happy ending. I did get to have the filter fish was amazing, and yeah.
How'd you get back in though?
Yeah, that was a big problem. Michelle's like, where is he? Like, he's only going to have them. And I ended up walking home. It was very nice. I got back in. The kids were all excited. You know, Donnie came to horror. Is now 6 years old. 6 years old. Okay, so let's go back into this again. So I understanding is that the whole Torah and mitzvot it's a technology. It's a blueprint for us to live healthy spiritual lives. In fact, just going back to page 1 again. Look at this. It's very, very nice. The Torah starts on page 1. In page 1, Bereshit bara. Bereshit bara. Anyone know that's the first words of the entire Torah? Bereshit in the beginning. Bara. Hashem created. Bara, creation. Anyone know what the word for health in Hebrew is? Bariut. To be bari means to be healthy. Oh, isn't that interesting that the word health and the word creation are the same root? Bara and bria. Briut. It's all the same thing. Hashem created the world with health. Hashem created a healthy world. Hashem created a healthy world. He asked Adam and Eve to look after and make sure that he kept it healthy. We'd be messing up. He created us in a healthy way. He created us with healthy souls, right? We said this last week. Elokai neshama shnata tabi taharahi. It's pure. It's healthy. What do? Is each time we go through this world and we do things which are negative spiritual actions, That's what I like to use for the word sin, because I don't like the word sin. I use it in negative spiritual actions. So that's when every time you speak Lashon Hara, you're doing a negative spiritual action. You're tainting your soul. You're the equivalent of smoking a cigarette to your soul. Anyone who smokes, I'm sorry, but that's just every time you know, again, Lashon Hara is a very common one. A person, will, I don't know, all different things. Everyone has in their own way the things they feel they aren't doing. Right? They're treating people wrongly, or they're not giving benefit of the doubt, or you're judging them favorably. Whatever it's going to be, whatever you're doing, you're essentially polluting, so to speak, your soul. Okay, so what does Hashem do? He gives us one day a year. Well, really gives us the whole period of time. In fact, actually scratch that. He gives us every single day of our lives a chance to do something amazing, which is called Shuvah. Just to come back to yourself. To take away all those levels of unhealth. Take away those levels of pollution, of dirt, of the Yiddish word sounds much better of schmutz, but it kind of doesn't sound. But that is to get that neshama and to make it shine again by taking away all the levels of I guess, pollution that covers our soul. So a person will turn around and say, "Oh well, I've gone too far gone now, Rabbi. I'm such a bad." I hear this unfortunately from many people, and they say this and they don't mean to, maybe, I don't know, but they'll say things to me like, "Rabbi, forget it, I'm too far gone, I'm so bad, or you don't know what I do, and there's no way I can come home, you wouldn't even want to know what I'm up to." And the truth is, you know what? Hashem says everybody's open the door and come into every single person. Doesn't matter how far you've gone away. Right? Everybody has opportunity to come home and do tshuva. So this is the idea, this is a very deep concept. We say that Hashem is called a Rafeh. Rafeh is a doctor. Hashem is a Rafeh. In fact, if you take a look at source here, where is it? Source H. Okay, this is in Parshas Bamidbar. It's B'Shalach. Right, it says there, and he said, "If you hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, and you do what is proper in his eyes, and you listen closely to his commandments, and observe all his statutes, all the sicknesses that I have voiced upon Egypt, I will not visit upon you, for I, the Lord, am your healer. Ani Hashem Rofecha, Hashem Rofecha, I am Hashem, your Rofeh." Isn't that interesting that Hashem calls himself a Rofeh, a healer? We never really refer to God in such a way as a healer. I mean, maybe you do, but most of us don't. It's that same sort of paradigm of like man with stick looking out to hurt me, right? But let's look at it the other way now. Let's okay. Someone else someone hasn't read the bylaws of like self-fitness or something. You have to. They do get something. I don't know. I'm just.
It also wasn't me.
Just taking it out.
It wasn't literally.
Isn't that interesting that Hashem is called a doctor, right? And the thing about doctors, the best bit, and maybe some people in the room will actually appreciate this. You go see a doctor sometimes, and you kind of try and trick the doctor. I've done it. I had, say, a knee problem, right? And the doctor will say, "If you do this, and you do the exercises, come back in a week, and and I'll see how you're doing. But do the exercises." And you say, yes, and you don't do the exercises, and you come back a week later and you say, "Did you do the exercises?" And yeah. Because you don't want to let the doctor down. You don't want to, what I'm saying? Does everyone know what I'm talking about here? Because I did it all the time. How stupid is that? Because it makes the doctor feel any better that you listen to him? It reminds me of I don't know if I can say this, there was a man who went to see the doctor, and he was very overweight. The doctor said to him, "I want to put you on a special diet." Okay, and the man said, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" So he said, "Well, I want you to."
Irish.
he was Irish. He was Irish. Yes. So he said, "What do you want to do?" So he said, "Well, I want you to eat a day, skip a day, eat a day, skip a day, eat a day, skip a day, and come back next week."
I'm pretty sure I don't.
So he came back a week later, he walks in, and he's thin as a stick. Absolutely thin as a stick. So the doctor looks and says, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's incredible. How did you do that? How did you do that? It's incredible. It must be so hard for you, all those days without eating." He goes, "Oh, the eating wasn't a problem, doctor. It's all that skipping did it to me." It's taking a while for you to understand what I'm saying. I think it's a great joke, that's it. Okay, fine. So, tu comprends? Ça c'est un jour de skipping. Il fait un jour skipping, un jour il a mangé, un jour skipping. Un jour mangé, skipping. Comment on dit skipping en français? Cola sauté. Cola sauté. That sounds actually like a meal, a dish, or sauté. Cauliflower or sauté. Okay, fine. So the understanding is that Tshuva and Yom Kippur is this incredible opportunity. So instead of being a day of absolute sadness, we should be jumping for joy, because here is a day where we're being invited to literally just become clean. We're being invited where you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to spend any money, you don't have to even have to train yourself. You just have to have a will and intent inside to say, I don't want this anymore, I just want to come home. I want to go back to the default position, the default settings that I came into this world with, which is to be pure and to be holy and to be strong. And Hashem help me. So if you look, and now's not the time to do that, but if you look in the prayers of Yom Kippur, we do all the achetz, you say, which is the idea of I see is kind of almost like taking away a layer of dirt and a way of distraction, obstruction. And at the end you say, Hashem, please, you make a prayer, Yirat Son. You say to Hashem, please, Yirat Son, you know what that means? Yirat Son, may be your will, i.e. it's a prayer. I'm praying to you now, Hashem, please, make it your will that I don't do this anymore, because I need your help. I don't want to speak Lashon Hara. I know how juicy it is when you've got a great piece of Lashon Hara about a person, a piece of gossip, and it's really good to share. I know how good and gratifying it can feel to share that with other people and have a good laugh at someone else's expense. But I don't want to do that because I know it's lo shaveh. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, one of the things we say, we take a look here in source E, one of the things we say in the prayer service of Yom Kippur is, Sarnu mitzvosecha, right, hatovim, we ran away from your commandments, right? V'lo shavalanu. It wasn't worth it. So if you kind of it's like the dieting thing, again, go back to the diet, that's the struggle, right? That you say this, I'm not going to have any more of that, I'm not going to go to Kiddush or wherever it's going to be, and I'm not going to have that apple cake, because I told myself I'm not going to have it. It's full of bad things, and I've already had loads this morning. I've already had 5 cakes this morning. I'm not going to have any more. I'm going to another Kiddush now. I'm not going to have any more. I'm not going to have any more. I'm not going to have any more. Not going to have any more. And before you know it, you've licked the plate clean of another whole plate, right? And what's the immediate thing you say afterwards to yourself? You say, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. And that's the way we should be feeling about when if we say some Lashon Hara, or if we eat something we're not meant to eat, or we do something we're not meant to do. It's was it really worth it? It's just taking us one step away. It's kind of a barrier. It's closed the door to the light that's come into my life. It wasn't worth it. So all Yom Kippur is a day to say, look, I just want to come home again. I just want to open the door and realize that force in my life, that Yetzer Hara, which is essentially there, pushing me and challenging me. The Yetzer Hara is a force of challenge in our lives. Now Yetzer Hara, which challenges me, okay, I know that ultimately it's empty. Rabbi Nachman of Breslev gives this beautiful analogy. You guys have heard of Rabbi Nachman of Breslev? Yeah. Yes. Rabbi Nachman, have you heard of him? No. It's about to teach. Thank you very much. Boys, you've heard of Rabbi Nachman a little bit? Oh, you heard the song. That's a really, really great answer. For so many reasons, that's a brilliant answer. Okay, so Rabbi Nachman of Breslev said that the Yetzer Hara, the way to the best mashal, analogy for the Yetzer Hara is that, can you imagine this beautiful village, everyone's happy, right? The kids are happy, they're in school learning, right? The people are in the business place working comfortably and confidently. The people in the houses, everything's calm, everyone's cooking, everyone's doing exactly. The marketplace is nice, everyone's happy, everything's peaceful and fine. Until somebody comes in, right? This traveler comes in, not a traveler, I mean a traveling person. Sorry, that's not meant to be a stereotype. Okay? A person comes in, okay, and he's in his house. He's like, look what I've got, look what I've got, look what I've got. And everyone's suddenly, all the kids what? What's he got? And they kind of lift their heads up and they say, what's he got? And then he's going, come and see what I've got. And so the kids get up and they leave there. The teacher's like, what are you doing? Come back. And the kids are go outside, and he's going into the marketplace. Everyone, look what I've got in my hand. And everyone stops what they're doing and they start losing their business and they start losing money and they follow. And they go into the houses, look what I've got in my hand, look what I've got in my hand. And they start losing their kitchens and the pots are boiling over and things are going on fire. And they say, look what I've got in my hand, look what I've got in my hand, look what I've got in my hand. And everyone starts following this guy into the marketplace and they've left their businesses and their families and their wives and their children and everything. And he says, look what I've got, look what I've got. Absolutely nothing. That's what Rabbi Nachman is the Yetzer Hara. It's this power that takes, come and see what I've got, and it just distracts you. Takes you to all different places that you don't really want to be at, and then when it's there, you suddenly see, actually, what have I got in my hand? It's actually nothing. It doesn't feel good at the end of the day. It doesn't make you feel, it's absolutely nothing. And that's why we say, take a look at source I. One of the things we say in the tefillah, in the prayers of Rosh Hashanah Kippur, is v'chein tzadikim yuvishmachu v'yishay mi'alos v'chasim b'rina yagilu v'lastatik v'ziyah v'char rish'ah. Listen to these words, right? We pray to Hashem on Rosh Hashanah Kippur. In the future, all the wickedness, all the evil, all those powers of the Lord taking effect from whence to good, we're going to get to, will vanish like what? Like smoke. Why like smoke? Because smoke is the best analogy. Smoke is something which is real, it's there, it actually exists, but then after a few seconds, it's not there anymore, because it actually isn't made up of anything. I mean, obviously it is made up of atoms, obviously, metal molecules, but ultimately, smoke is the best analogy. It's real, but it's not real. It's there, but it's not there. It has substance, but it has absolutely no substance whatsoever. So just to summarize, right, Tshuva, and this is what I'm saying, and there's no criticism here. We start the class saying Tshuva is saying sorry. But do you understand it's so much more than saying sorry? Tshuva is spiritual health. And you can do it any day of the year. Any day of the year. This is Rachel Levy, that's my question. So Rachel Levy, what I say to you is, yes, you can do it any day of the year, but Yom Kippur is the day to do it. Yom Kippur is a very special day. Why? It's a commemoration of another time in history. Anyone here want to guess or know what event happened on Yom Kippur?
16. No, Yom Kippur.
The Yom Kippur War is... I was glad you got yourself out of that, because that would have been a little embarrassing, but it's okay. Okay, but we won't go there. Anybody know what historically happened on Yom Kippur? And we're talking about old history, not modern history.
Oh, is it not that?
No, it's not sorry. Not the spies. Not the spies. Sorry, Jake. Nearly. That's Tishbav.
Jonah.
Not the Govath. That's 17 Basik.
Jonah.
Jonah well, something to Jonah, and this is the one we're looking for. Swallow by the way. Here we go. Ready?
Oh, yeah, go on.
Shavuot. What did we commemorate Shavuot? The Torah was given. Cheesecake. Thank you very much. Talk about service level here. 1 second, please. I hope 1 second. Okay, Shavuot, for instance, we get the Torah. Que 40. I say 40 in Spanish. 14.
You just got told.
And I say 40 was 40. And I say days.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
Buenos dias.
Exactly. 40 days later, we get, what happens 40 days after? 40 days after the Torah is given, says Emily Lewis correctly, is, no phones allowed, is,
It's Rosh Hashanah.
no, it's something called the 17th day of Tammuz, where the golden calf. And, therefore, Josh Tanko, what happened that day?
Hope was distracting you.
What happened, Hope? He smashed the tablet. So, Shavuot, get the Torah. 40 days later, tablets are smashed. Complete mess up on a royal scale. We were worshipping a golden calf when Moses is coming down with the Torah. That's the biggest mess up you can imagine, right? 40 days later, what happens? On the first day of Elul, Moshe is told, come back up to Mount Sinai. I'm going to give you the tablets again. I'm going to give you the Torah again. 40 days later is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, my friends, is the day that Moshe came down with the second set of tablets. It's the day we receive the Torah a second time, ultimately saying to us, you are forgiven. It's the day of forgiveness. It's the day where you're told, whatever happened, happened. Okay, but you have to mean it. That's the one thing I'll tell you. Like, Rabbi Dawes, great class tonight. You can do what you want, then just in Yom Kippur say sorry. No, it's not about that. You have to mean it. It has to be real. You have to have a contrite heart and a desire to come home. But ultimately, I think what it comes from is an understanding, which is the paradigm shifting moment, to because we're pure, and we can only be pure because we're the pure Hashem. There's nothing you can do about it. Banim atem la Hashem Elokeichem means you're a child of Hashem, right? That means you're connected at all times. There's nothing you can do. You can run far away. You mentioned Jonah in the well, right? You can run far away. You can never run far away. Because ultimately you're connected. So what we can do on Yom Kippur is focus on this idea of asking Hashem, take away the barriers, take away the doors, take away all the curtains and all the Berlin walls that exist, right? We talked about this, I was in Berlin. One of the greatest things I saw for myself, the idea of a wall of separation. Take away all the separation of my life and allow me to feel that I can come home again. And that's the ultimate tshuva of coming back home. And you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything because you're there already. Isn't that the most beautiful thing? Right? So you don't go anywhere. You're just there already. So this is what I want to share with you. You can take the source sheets with you. Let's do a little 5-minute meditation now on this idea, guys. Yeah? We're ready for that? Okay, beautiful. Okay, thanks.